Hi friends, welcome back. This is A Course in Miracles lesson 39. Today you're going to read the lesson, make some comments or give some examples, and we're going to do the first guided practice together. So let's do it. A Course in Miracles lesson 39. Also, I want to thank you for being here and thank you for taking your time to do these lessons. Take your time to taking care of yourself, of your mind, of your well-being. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing time during this practice. So let's do it. Lesson 39. My holiness is my salvation. If guilt is hell, what is the opposite? What is its opposite? Like the text from which this workbook was written, the ideas used for the exercise are very simple, very clear, and totally unambiguous. We are not concerned with intellectual fears, nor logical toys. We are dealing only in the various obvious, which has been overlooked in the clouds of complexity in which you think. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? This is not difficult, surely. The excitation you may feel in answering is not due to the ambiguity of the question. But do you believe that guilt is hell? If you did, you'd see at once how direct and simple the text is. And you do not need a workbook at all. No one needs practice to gain what is already his. So it asks 3 times here, if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? And the answer we can say is the truth revealed in the lesson, my holiness is my salvation. And I like that it says here that the answer is not difficult, it's not complex, it's actually very simple. And no one needs to practice what is already his. You don't need to practice your holiness. You already are. You just need to become aware. We have already said that your holiness is the salvation of the world. What about your own salvation? You cannot give what you do not have. A Savior must be saved. How else can he teach salvation? A Savior must be saved. Today's exercise will apply to you. Recognize that your salvation is crucial to the salvation of the world. As you apply the exercise to the world, the whole world stands to benefit. So if your holiness is the salvation of the world, it is crucial to understand and recognize that it is also your salvation. As the truth, my holiness is my salvation. Your holiness is the answer to every question that was ever asked, is being asked now, or will be asked in the future. Your holiness means the end of guilt, and therefore the end of hell. So, your holiness means the end of guilt, and with the result, the end of hell. Your holiness, it is the salvation of the world and your own. How could you, to whom your holiness belongs, be excluded from it? God does not know holiness. Can be He does not know His Son. So this last part where say, how could you, to whom your holiness belongs, be excluded from it? It is impossible. You never, ever, ever, it's impossible for you to be excluded from your own holiness. And as your holiness, it is the salvation of the world, it is obviously your own salvation too. And I'm going to repeat the other part where it says, no one needs to practice to gain what is already his. You don't need to practice your holiness. You don't need to gain your holiness. You don't need to achieve your holiness. You already are holy. Which is pretty different from what many religions preach. You are already holy. You don't need to achieve anything. It is who you are, and you don't even need to practice to gain what is already yours. Amazing. A full 5 minutes are urged for the 4 longer practice periods for today. Longer and more frequent practice sessions are encouraged. If you want to exceed the minimum requirements more rather than longer sessions, I recommend it, although both are suggested. Begin the practice periods as usual by repeating today's idea to yourself. Then, with closed eyes, search out your unloving thoughts, in whatever form they appear: uneasiness, depression, anger, fear, worry, attack, insecurity, and so on. Whatever form they take, they are unloving and therefore fearful. And so it is from them that you need to be saved. We need to be saved from our own thoughts of attack, of illusion. Specific situations, events, personalities you associate with unloving thoughts of any kind are suitable subjects for today's exercise. It is imperative for your salvation that you see them differently, and it is your blessing on them that will save you and give you vision. So I'm going to highlight here. We are going to do 4 longer exercises today, 5 minutes each, where we are going to start by closing our eyes, repeating the truth of the lesson, my holiness is my salvation. And then we are going to search our minds for any kind of attack thoughts, fearful thoughts, any unloving thoughts. And we can get specific situations, specific events that are associated with unloving thoughts. And here says that it's imperative for our salvation that we see these thoughts differently. And it is our blessing upon them that will save us and give us vision. So while we are gathering these thoughts, while we are doing these exercises, here it says it is imperative for your salvation that you see these thoughts differently. And it is your blessings on them that will save you and give you vision. This is for the longer exercises. So let's continue. Slowly, without conscious selection, without undue emphasis or anyone in particular, search your mind for every thought that stands between you and your salvation. Apply the idea for today to each of them in this way. For example, my unloving thoughts about, and you specify the situation, are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. So you can, all the thoughts that come of lack, of insecurity, of uneasing, or any unloving thoughts or attack thoughts, you are going to specify the thought, specify the situation, the event, the person. And we're going to say, my unloving thoughts about, and you can say the name of a person, or you can say I'm gonna say some examples. My unloving thoughts about my body are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. My unloving thoughts about my lack, my insecurity, my people pleasing, my fear of heights, my fear of abandonment, my worries, etc., etc. And then you can keep going. You may find these practice periods easier if you intersperse them with several short periods during which you merely repeat today's idea to yourself, slowly a few times. You may also find it helpful to include a few short intervals in which you just relax and do not seem to be thinking of anything. Sustained concentration is very difficult at first. It will become much easier as your mind becomes more disciplined and less distractible. So for the shorter periods, we can merely just repeat the truth of my holiness is my salvation as many times as we want, slowly, without a sense of hurry. And sometimes we can repeat and stay quiet for a little bit and just relax. And meanwhile, you should feel free to introduce a variety into the exercise periods in whatever form appeals to you. Do not, however, change the idea itself as you vary the method of applying it. However you elect to use it, the idea should be stated so that its meaning is the fact that your holiness is your salvation. And each practice period, by repeating the idea in its original form once more and adding, you can say, okay, if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? And then you finish, my holiness is my salvation. In the shorter applications, which should be made some 3 or 4 times an hour, and more if possible, you may ask yourself this question and repeat today's idea, and preferably both. So you may ask this question on the shorter periods too. If guilt is hell, what is the opposite? And then you say the truth that my holiness is my salvation. If temptations arise, a particular helpful form of the idea is my holiness is my salvation from this. So if you're having particular event happening today with you, let's say you have an argument with someone or whatever happens, and you can say my holiness is my salvation from this. And sometimes even on the shorter periods, you can repeat a few times. If you have a thought in mind, you can repeat a few times, my holiness is my salvation from this. And that's the text. Now I would like to guide us into the first guided practice, so we can do together and you can repeat again later. We need today to do 4 long practice periods and short ones as many as you can, 3-4 times during in an hour if possible. So let's do it. I invite you to close your eyes. To take a deep breath. And take another deep breath. And we're going to repeat the truth of the lesson of today slowly. My holiness is my salvation. And take another deep breath. Now I invite you to start searching your mind for any unhappy, unloving thoughts, any attack thoughts, any situations, anything that is coming to your mind right now, present, or that already happened, or something that you are worried about. And I invite you to get this thought and say, my unloving thoughts about, and you specify, are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. And take a deep breath. Then you can get the next thought situation that arises. And they're going to say, my unloving thoughts about, and specify, are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. And take another deep breath. And as you gather the next thought, the next situation, you say, my unloving thoughts about, and you specify, are keeping me in hell. My holiness is my salvation. Now, as you understand that these thoughts, the distortion of these thoughts, beliefs, is what we are blessing, is what we are changing our perception. And as we changing our perception, we are getting true vision. Now we can say, if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? And you can answer that, my holiness is my salvation. your wholeness, something that you already are. It is your salvation. You are holy. And through your holiness, the power of God is made manifest. Through your holiness, you are saving the world and yourself. Through your holiness, you are one with the mind of God. And let's repeat once again, my holiness is my salvation. And take another deep breath. And relax into the present moment. Really try to reflect, embody, bring this truth into your heart. My holiness is my salvation. And that's it. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have an amazing day today, and see you again tomorrow.